Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari. And today I want to give you 3 questions which allow you to understand what spirituality is, to progress through your spirituality in a different mindset than you might be used to have seen before, or in very different from what religion will try to bring onto you. So these are the 3 questions which guide us in our spirituality in the yoga path. The first question is the traditional question. This one's a classic. Who am I? This is a great question. Who am I? It seems like a little simple, but it's actually not, because it turns out, yoga tells us that we are confused. The main thing that's keeping us in suffering is called avidya, ignorance, not knowing, lack of knowledge. And this lack of knowledge, the first thing it does with us, according to the yoga tradition again, is to develop ahankar. And ahankar is translated as false ego. What does that mean? False identity. Ego in the sense of the Greek word I. The false I. So actually, all our troubles, according to the Vedic text, all our troubles are based on the fact that we don't know who we are. This who am I is at the very root of all our problems here, of all our suffering. Because by not knowing who we are, we constantly take the wrong path. We make the wrong choices. We choose to prioritize the wrong things. And that keeps bringing us to a place of more suffering, of more confusion, and then from that state of more confusion and suffering, then we continue to make more poor choices. So the question is, who am I in the spiritual path, brings you to understand that all these ideas we had before about, oh, I'm a man, and I'm American, I'm Brazilian, I'm this, I'm that, I'm, a businessman, I'm a sport. All those things are completely wrong. So everything that looked like, everything we heard, that they told us we were, all wrong. And it turns out that's the first thing Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita. The very first thing he starts teaching to help Arjuna regain his balance, his self, to understand what's going on, to get over his deep lamentation and suffering. The first thing he does is to teach him who he is, by starting with the instruction, you are an eternal being. You've always existed and will always exist. So that's a great question. Who am I? And from then we can build, much more. But then it comes to the second question. What am I supposed to do? Because once you understand who am I, and you say, okay, so I'm an eternal soul. But then what? Then you have to ask the second question. What am I supposed to do? What should I be doing? What is the action of this person that I am? If I am this, then what should I be doing about it? And how would I act? And Arjuna makes this question to Krishna several times in Bhagavad Gita. He says, how does such a person behave? How do we recognize it? How do we know? What do they do? He wants to know what it's like. What it's like to be this, to be in this state of mind where you understand who you are. So what am I supposed to do? What should I be doing? And that question is very deep. And I'm not going to give you the answer here because that would require a very long class, and you can watch my other videos to understand. In the 3T Path, the book I wrote is all about that. But so that what am I supposed to be doing? It requires a lot of more information, understanding. It requires focus. It's going to require grit on your part to gradually change your behavior and your habits. That's why self-realization is a whole path. It takes your, a lifetime. Krishna says lifetimes in the plural in Bhagavad Gita. It takes lifetimes because you have to adjust your behavior, your focus, your priorities. Everything changes. It's very different from religion where he says, okay, do you believe this? Great, thank you very much. Now just do these rituals to make sure that, to prove that you believe it. Make sure you go to this place at this time and do this thing and say those things, and that will prove that you believe, and that's it. It's just like a belief thing. Oh yeah, I believe. Do you believe? Okay, great. Next. Do you believe? Okay, next. And spirituality is not at all about that. It's all about, really living the way you are, really being who you are and acting appropriate to who you really are. So that's the whole, whole section, a whole path to take. It really is a path. The spiritual path really is a path. You have to, progress in it and go in it and slowly, step by step, change and live it. And then finally, 3, which is then the question which makes sense for 1 and 2, what should I do to get there? What do I do to get to the point where I can be who I am and be doing what I should be doing? So this question, how do I get there? That's yoga. That's why the Bhagavad Gita is there. That's why Srimad. That's why we have all these instruction in the 3T path. How do I get there? Because then it's like, okay, you're this, I should be doing that, but then how do I go from here to there? And there are techniques, there are suggestions, there are pathways, there are things you have to do. You might not expect things like, like the way what you eat will make a difference, and how you take care of your body will make a difference. And of course, the things you do, the people you hang out with will make a huge difference. So all these details about how do I get there, that's the very rich philosophy of yoga, the very rich content of Bhagavad Gita, what I try to pass here in the 3T Path channel, in my book, in my books. That's the stuff you have to go after to understand, to live that life, to gradually, travel in that path of self-realization. So I hope that helps, hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, leave your questions below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. Have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.